will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go back.
Protesters over the weekend assembled outside the homes of Supreme Court justices. China's COVID policy is insane. Elon Musk got threatened by the Russians, and pro-life offices in Wisconsin got firebombed. Holy cow. What a weekend. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Fellow Live. My name is Jobob. Daily Fellow Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world. For you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Fellow Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. And today it is May 9th, the year of our Lord 2022. New you in 22. Get that started or it's not going to be happening for you. A lot of interesting stuff happened over the weekend. Joe Biden went to Ukraine, or the border of Ukraine. Not really sure where she was, but met with Zelensky's wife and kids. Elon Musk got threatened by the Ruskies for helping out the Ukrainians with his Starlink thing. Not at all related to Twitter, I don't think. But this, I think, was the most important thing that happened over the weekend that is a signaling of where we are at in our society. Obviously, last week, Roe versus Wade, a draft of the opinion for the Dobbs case got leaked, written by Justice Alito. Supposedly, the Supreme Court is going to overturn Roe versus Wade, and the lefties around the country are not happy about it. And in typical lefty fashion, it would seem that they resorted to some harsh tactics, some being protesting outside of some of the Supreme Court justices' house. On Saturday night, pro-choice activists protested outside the homes of conservative Supreme Court justices Brett Kavanaugh and John Roberts, days after the unprecedented leak of a draft opinion that revealed the country's highest court plans to overturn Roe versus Wade. About 100 demonstrators hoisting signs and chanting pro-choice slogans marched from Justice Brett Kavanaugh's house in Maryland to Chief Justice House John Roberts' home nearby. Bloomberg reported. After returning to Kavanaugh's house, police instructed the group of protesters to disperse, according to Bloomberg again. I'm going to play some clips from the protests outside of the SCOTUS homes. This is not good. This is not good to where we are in society. We'll discuss afterward. What do you think about this in the comment section? Let me know.
Go back. We will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go back.
So that is the sounds, if you're listening, and the pictures, if you're watching, of what it's like outside of a Supreme Court justice's home. This is not a place we want to be in society, where people who are otherwise private citizens, obviously chiefs or the SCOTUS Supreme Court justices aren't private citizens, but you want to be able to let them live their private lives and make the decisions that they're going to make without the fear of being harassed. Because if you go down that road, things don't end pretty. And I will mention that if, in fact, one side provokes, the other side tends to own more weapons. Leave that there what it is. I'm not promoting any sort of violence by anyone. How about just leave people alone in their homes? This is time for civility over man, protester organizer Lacey Wood Hawley said to Bloomberg. Being polite doesn't get you anywhere. She said, the time for civility is over, man. Video posted, people chanting, my body, my choice, all of that sort of stuff. Again, happening outside of Supreme Court justices' homes. And this is not just happening in Washington, D.C. There's a bunch of protests taking place all over the place, and some of them as you would have guessed, because a lot of these super lefty protests turned violent elsewhere. In Wisconsin, a pro-life office was firebombed by Molotov cocktails and then broken into and would appear to be ransacked. Now, there are different instances where different sides choose to commit violence. That is not a new thing in the world of protesting throughout the dawn of time. But more recently, probably starting with the BLM riots in the middle of 2020, I think that's when the country started to get this idea of, oh, wait, is this okay? Can we just do this? Now, obviously, there was the riot at the Capitol that is terrible from people who I probably would agree with more politically, and that was awful then. Having said that, I think those situations only come from when you have riots going on in the streets across America and nobody's doing anything about it. Remember when that group took an entire couple city blocks in Seattle, the Chaz groups? This is a bigger look at what society is doing now, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be ending well. If you haven't already, click the little like button, the little share button. Would appreciate you doing that. It helps us continue to do what we're doing here over at the Daily Caller live show. I want to play this clip, just short 10-second clip if you're watching this. If you're not watching, sorry, it's some dead air silence. But this is what happened to a Wisconsin pro-life office over the weekend. So the question seems to be, where does this lead us? I would argue nowhere good. Protesting outside of the homes of Supreme Court justices, trying to intimidate them into changing their mind on an issue that isn't even settled yet, or violently attacking offices of people who disagree with you. Not a good place to be in society. The group's president said the blaze and threatening graffiti was a local manifestation of anger over the possibility of Roe versus Wade. This is the Wisconsin, reading an article about the Wisconsin attack. There was spray paint painted on the outside that I stupidly forgot to put in this, but it said something along the lines of, if abortions aren't safe, you won't be either. Ugh. No one was injured. Officials are still working to determine how much damage was caused by the fire. It wasn't immediately clear who vandalized the building, but the message, oh, here it is. If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either. Spray painted on the building. So there's that. That's where we are right now. And I hate to say, but at least this, but I'm going to say at least this. China COVID policies have gone nuts. Now, they've been going nuts for a couple months, but more and more video is coming out of the police and what they're doing to detain people who test positive for COVID or were around somebody that might possibly have COVID. We've got a bunch of clips that I'm going to play for you and we're going to discuss right after this. Watch these from Chinese streets and then also Chinese prison camps. This is unbelievable that this is happening right now in the 21st century, 2022. Check this out. We'll discuss on the other side.
你不这什么意思啊？你爸？
Get escorted away. This next clip is a couple people getting thrown into the back of what looks like a van/ambulance. Literally thrown in, like forced in. This is unbelievable footage. And these are the camps. These are the COVID camps in China. It looks like they're locked in like a tennis court with tents, and everybody's wearing hazmat suits and masks outside. This is what happens if you are tangentially related to the CCP bat fever in China. That's what happens. Under the new hardline policies, even residents with negative COVID tests can find themselves placed into centralized government quarantines. I think this is from CNN. According to social media posts and local government notices circulating online in several parts of the city, this is Beijing and Shanghai, entire apartment blocks have been deemed a health risk, with all occupants forced to stay in their homes and placed into quarantine on the back of one positive case. President Xi is staking his entire presidency on this whole zero COVID policy. Oftentimes, and this circling back in honor of Jen Psaki's last couple days as the White House press secretary, we're circling back. Remember when the United States, a bunch of the people, especially when Donald Trump was the president, America is the highest COVID death rate. Well, first of all, we're the third highest populated country on the planet. India has no way of knowing what their COVID death rate is because they don't have the infrastructure to count that sort of thing. And China lies about it. So all of those people that were saying, we did a terrible job with the whole COVID pandemic in terms of stopping deaths, didn't seem like any of that was going to do anything anyway, especially the fact that the two other biggest countries on the planet were not able to count and were lying about it. Shanghai tells people to stay home and not even receive deliveries. Part of the push is to eliminate infections by late May, says a bunch of different sources. The Chinese capital, Beijing, has imposed the toughest curbs so far. Lawyers question the legality of the tough measures as anger grows. I would expect it to be growing in China. One resident said, it's like a prison. It's not like a prison. It literally is a prison. Coco Wang, a Shanghai resident living under the new restrictions. This is fascinating, what she says right here. We're not afraid of the virus. We're afraid of this policy. Yes, that has been the entire thing from the get-go. The virus was going to do what the virus was going to do. We can talk about the lab leak and Fauci and Daszak and Eco Health Alliance funding the lab research in Shanghai or in Wuhan, sorry. But the thing that's caused the most damage, I think, outside of the COVID doing whatever the COVID was going to do, seemingly inevitably, was government policies. That was the worst thing to come out of this pandemic. But a resident saying it's like a prison. We're not afraid of the virus. We're afraid of the policy. That couldn't be any more true. Not only in China, but across places like the United States and Canada even. Not Canada even. Canada more specifically. Canada's gone nuts. Chinese growth has been the weakest in 2 years. Its currency has fallen. There's a bunch of stuff going on. This is going to affect us too. The supply chain coming from China is going to be severely impeded given what's going on there. So there's that. I want to get to this. This is fascinating. The Russians have apparently threatened Elon Musk. Some of their big media outlets or a general, I believe, hold on, let me make sure I'm getting this right. The head of the Russian Federal Space Agency sent Russian media this particular note that appeared to be threatening or at least demonizing one Elon Musk. Now, this has nothing to do with Twitter, by the way. Elon Musk, at the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, sent Starlink satellite systems. I'm not entirely sure how they work. But at the very, very beginning, Elon Musk decided, correctly, by the way, that the Ukrainian people who were under attack by Russian forces needed to have access to the internet to be able to show people what was going on. Because if Russians detached them from the internet, they could do whatever they wanted, like they have really anyway, without anybody knowing. Now there's a bunch of pictures coming out of places like Mariupol, coming out of Kyiv, all this sort of stuff. And a lot of that, I believe, to my knowledge, is with help from the Starlink program that Elon Musk sent over there. The Starlink program is a company that Elon Musk is involved with or owns, I would assume, that has been able to satellite connect people to the internet across Ukraine. This was posted on Twitter by Elon Musk yesterday. This is said by the Russian Federal Space Agency head, who says this: Elon Musk thus is involved in supplying the fascist forces in Ukraine with military communication equipment. Rogzin, who is the guy, the head of the dude, wrote, according to the English translation that Musk posted. He also tweeted the Russian version, by the way. And for this, Elon, you will be held accountable like an adult, no matter how much you play the fool. That seems pretty threatening to me. I don't know about you. Let me know in the comment section if you think that's a threat, which poses a really interesting question. I'm reading the longer version on Twitter. Let me just get so really quick on Twitter for the testimony. This is the guy sending this to Russian media. From the testimony of the captured commander of the 36th Marine Brigade, yada, 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 it turns out the internet terminals of Elon Musk's Starlink satellite company were delivered to the militants of the Nazi Azov Battalion and the Ukrainian Marines in Mariupol by military helicopters. So the Russians are calling the Ukrainians Nazis, which isn't new, but the fact that they're doubling down on that is craziness. According to our information, the delivery of the Starlink equipment was carried out by the Pentagon. Elon Musk thus involving supply, yada, 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 the fascists of Ukraine, and he will be held accountable, says Russian media. Elon Musk, by the way, responded by saying, if I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing you. So apparently he's not super worried about whatever it is that the Ruskies are planning on him right now. I would imagine he has severe protection. Severe protection? That's probably not the right word. He has massive protection surrounding him day and night. So I would imagine that he's going to be okay, hopefully. But if they were to get to him, this is not, Vladimir Putin has reached out and pushed some doctors out of windows, gave him a belly full of polonium, whatever it is that he does or how he gets rid of dissidents. He's reached out across the world and done that on numerous occasions. So it wouldn't be surprising to see if they tried it. How would we respond to that? I don't actually know. In the comment section, let me know what you think. Like, how does the United States respond to a successful business person and public figure, American citizen, immigrant, if it were clear and obvious that Vladimir Putin used his long tentacles to reach out to Elon Musk and assassinate him in some way, shape, or form, as this federal head of the space program claims that says they might do to Elon Musk for helping the Nazis. I don't actually know. I don't know. What do we do? You let me know in the comment section, because I genuinely am curious. Chad says, well, if Democrats are in office, they won't help Elon. I'm reading some of these comments. Interesting. Yeah. It doesn't, I don't know. I actually don't know what the United States does. It would be terrible and awful. And from there, it would seem like craziness. Joe Biden went to Kyiv over the weekend. Actually, shoot, I keep saying Kyiv. I don't actually know. It looks like she was at the border of Ukraine and met with Zelensky's wife and kids and talked. Joe Biden still has not gone to Ukraine. I'm not entirely faulting him for that. I'm just curious as to when he will. I would imagine he will at some point. There's been times where it seems like, the commander-in-chief of the United States military and the leader of the free world should probably not go into a war zone. Probably not the most safe thing to do. But at the same time, now the leaders of Great Britain, France, Spain, I think, a bunch of the other, Israel, a bunch of the other world leaders have gone. So at what point does our president go? I'm not entirely sure. That's going to do it for us today. The White House is having a press briefing later on today that we'll bring to you. I'm not sure if it's going to be Jen Psaki doing it or it's going to be the new gal, Katrina Jean something. I'm not entirely familiar with her name as of yet, but I'm sure we will be very soon. Also, President Biden and Kamala Harris are giving a press conference later today. I forget what it's about. I think, hold on, let me pull it up really quick. Biden and Harris deliver remarks on affordable connectivity programs, so the lowering the high cost of high-speed internet for millions of Americans, which the private sector is more than capable and able to do and will do if there is a profitable need for it. If the government does it, it'll generally be bad, but they'll be talking about that later. I would imagine that Joe Biden would be asked a couple different questions about the protests outside of the SCOTUS homes. He either will not answer at all or say, and we'll get to that tomorrow with whoever comes out of that. So appreciate you sticking around with us, joining us today on this Monday. Have a great week. We'll see you tomorrow. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media accounts. Just type in JOBOB to pretty much anywhere. You'll be able to find me. We can hang out there and talk about, shoot me a message on Instagram. I generally respond to everything, unless you're a crazy person, then I won't respond. But yeah, you can follow me on any of your social media platforms. Would appreciate you doing so. That's going to do it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.